Hello duelists, it's Joe here from Rufioh. Welcome to the channel. Today I am bringing you a brand new deck profile, something I've been testing with. It's no extra deck, as you can tell, and it's true Draco. I want to spend some time going back over some of the old decks that I used to play and see basically what makes them tick in the current format. Now, I've been testing this an absolute ton, as well as another variant of the deck. So this is a going first version, there's a going second version, which I actually think is maybe slightly better, but there'll be a separate video for that one. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you what it is that I've been testing. Now, for the side deck, it's more about what options you could try out rather than an actual full-on side deck, because really, I think it just depends on the meta you're playing in. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're playing your locals, you'll know what decks you want to play against, what you want to build for. And True Draco has tons and tons of flex spots, mostly around floodgates, let's be realistic here. And so, obviously, I'm just going to talk through some potential options you might want to look at and have a discussion on what I've tested and what works well for me. But we start off with the main deck. So this one I think is, well, fairly obvious. We start off with 2 copies of Masterpiece. Great to see this back. I think 2 is sufficient. 3 is just overkill. You don't want to glue it to your hand. You want to be able to search it. You'd rather just see the other monsters instead if you can. This is definitely the way to go for me. I think 2 is just more than enough. Some people might prefer to play 1 if you want to free up some space. But 2's worked really well for me so far. We've then got triple copies of Dynamite Knight. I actually think this is the one you want to see most. It sets up all your traps, and your traps are largely how you're going to control the game with this deck. You're going to constantly want to set them. You can constantly respond to stuff with just setting up Apocalypse and things like that. It just gets you so far. You can use it then to pop your spells, pop back row. It's beefy. This card just does everything. In a lot of ways, it's better than Masterpiece. I think it's way more important in terms of you seeing it. Masterpiece, obviously, your boss monster and how you go in for game. But without Dynamite, you just don't really get there most of the time. We have a single copy of Majesty Maiden. I think with the new spell card, the new Draco Search, you really don't need more than one of this. Arguably, you could even cut it completely. I just like having it there so you've got a body, because there's nothing worse than just having no way to get to a monster in this deck, especially for your starting turn. So just the one obviously more than enough. I've then got triple copies of Ignis Heat. Again, this is up to you whether you maybe want to cut this down to 2, potentially. I quite like having the option there, again, because you just want to see the bodies. You want to see 1 in your opening hand guaranteed, ideally a second, and good ways to then just dig deep from there. And this works quite well for me. Then this one, I'm not too sure how I feel about this at the moment, and this might be why I favour the Go second build. A Mono White is really good because it just switches off hand traps, which obviously this deck is super susceptible to. But to be quite honest with you, most of the time when people are dumping hand traps at the moment, it's stuff you can just chain to anyway, and you only need to resolve the effect once that turn anyway. Obviously, Ash and Droll can be a little bit painful, although you can kind of play through Droll a little bit by dumping stuff onto the field instead of adding it to your hand, which is quite nice. But Mono is just a nice touch to have. Again, this is entirely up to you. It's worked okay for me, but again, I think prefer a Go second build as it stands without this. But anyway, if you're going to go play Go first, this is what I've been working with, and yeah, it's been fine for me. But that's it for the main deck monsters. So over to our spells now. So we've got triple copies of Draco Awakening. This is great. It just does everything for you. I mean, it's a search, which is the important thing. It's continuous, so you can just tribute it off straight away. So that's quite cool. And then it does also have obviously the effect that you can set other monsters when they go from the field to the grave. You can set them as a continuous spell, and then obviously they can be then used for tributes as well. So it keeps just materials on the field for you to use. Most of the time, I don't keep it after the initial effect, but it can sometimes come up. We then have triple copies of Heritage. It's just pretty standard. There's not much to say here. Drawing cards like crazy. It just works so well. With triple copies of Disciples for obviously recycling everything. Obviously, you can't recycle the new spell, which is a bit of a shame, but there we are. It does everything else for you. With triple copies of Diagram, the field spell is just nuts. This being back at 3 is just so wild. It's so good. Such a powerful card. You just want to see it as much as possible. We've then got triple copies of Pot of Duality in mixed rarity. That way you can really piss off your opponents, because playing Draco just doesn't get you there on its own, clearly. But yeah, triple copies of Pot of Duality is what it is. I did consider playing Desires. I've tested it, and I think it's really good, actually. I'm just not sure whether there's space for it. Maybe there's things you could cut, something to maybe look at. Desires is nice, obviously, draw 2. Yeah, I'm just unsure. I'm not playing it at the moment, but I have tested with it, and yeah, I'm neither here nor there on it, but it is what it is. This card, I think you have to play 2 copies of spell card Soul Exchange. So what this does, if you're unfamiliar, is you can tribute summon using your opponent's monsters as well. They also, on resolution, get to tribute summon immediately. We use a monster from their hand if they want to, but they can't tribute the monster that you tributed. So a lot of the time, they can't actually do anything unless you want to tribute their own monsters for a tribute summon your turn, which, unless you're playing against Monarchs or a mirror match, is probably not going to come up. So most of the time, this is bonkers. It's also an Outer Liger, which is obviously a really big thing that this deck struggles with. Things like Stormforth you can use, but they don't work on Liger because of the way that the wording is on the cards. Stormforth affects them, this just tributes them. So this allows you to out things like Liger. We've got a single copy of Terraforming, not much to say there, field spell, and Card of Demise. It's still absolutely busted, so yeah, you want to have a copy of that in there. Just digging deep as always. That's it for the main deck spells. And onto traps. So I don't have everything I wanted here, but I'll talk through that in a minute. And there's a couple of flex spots as well. So we've got triple copies of Apocalypse. This honestly is the best one. You need to see it. You've got 2 copies of True King's Return. 2 is more than enough. You don't need the 3rd. It just never comes up. The special summon really, I don't find it comes up an awful lot. It's this is just way more important for me. Onto some floodgates here. So I've got a single copy of There Can Be Only One. This I would actually potentially play Lose One Turn instead. I think Lose One Turn is just better. I just don't have it, so hence this is in here. This is probably maybe the best of the other floodgates. I mean, there's like Rivalry and Goes, and just through testing, this one seems to do the most. There's some decks which does nothing, but I think that's the case with all of them at this point. We've got a single copy of Skill Drain, because Skill Drain is pretty good. We've got a single copy of Apophis, the Swamp Deity. This becomes just a multi-like negate, which is really, really cool. It negates one for every continuous spell you have on the field, so that comes up quite a lot. This is, again, one of those flex spots, so you could potentially use something else instead if you prefer. And then we've got 2 copies of the Monarchs Erupt. This should be 3. Again, my 3rd one just hasn't turned up, hence it's not here, but should be 3. And with that, you've got a 41 card main deck. Again, you can get that down to 40 if you want to cut one of those. Now, over to, I guess we'll call them side deck options, but these could also potentially be flex spots for your main deck, just really depending on what you want to do. So we've got Domain of the True Monarch. This is really, really good. Just switching off your opponent's extra deck is pretty bonkers. Really, really, really handy. It can win games on its own. We've got Soul Drain. I really like this. I really, really like this. It was in the main for a lot of my builds. I dropped it in the end because it doesn't hurt as many decks as I would like, but the decks it does hurt, it can really end things for them. So really good option to consider. We've got Evenly Matched because board breakers are board breakers. This deck's fairly good at breaking boards anyway. It's got that inbuilt ability to break boards, pop back row, pop monsters, but just this is kind of, it's a different level of board breaker, isn't it? It makes your opponent do the board breaking, which can sometimes be really important depending on what you're playing into. We've got Solemn Judgment. I really wish this card was at 3, but this is a really good way of protecting important stuff, especially floodgates and things like that. If your opponent's got one out and you can stop it, that's great. We're leaning a little bit into some more Monarch ideas here. So you could look at something like Vanity's Fiend, just really, really piss your opponent off. This is something that we see Monarchs do a lot, and you can do it in here as well. Again, testing it seems quite nice, maybe just as a one-off. But yeah, works okay for me. Speaking of more Monarch stuff, I don't have Pantheisms, but you could really lean into it. You can go for Monarch Stormforth as another option. Again, we play already Erupt, and then if you're playing the field spell as well, I can really lean into it. March of the Monarchs is another okay option to consider, potentially something to have in the side if you've got the space. And then over to kind of other floodgates, I guess. We've got Anti-Spell Fragrance. The fact that this card is still legal is fucking insane. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. This card's awful. It's diabolical. Especially in this deck because they set the macro, then you get to pop it by getting rid of your spells. It's so bonkers. Really, really good. And then the other option is Rivalry of Warlords. Again, like all these floodgates, there's so many others you can play. You can go Dimensional Fisher. That's another really good option. That can just win games on its own. It's basically Shifter, right? Which most decks can't play through. So yeah, there's just tons and tons of really good options. Again, any other board breakers, you could do things like Thrusts, run board breakers like Duster, Regeki, things like that. That's what I tend to run in the Go Second build. But yeah, there's just tons and tons of options. One of the cool things about Draco is you can just really abuse all these ridiculous cards that shouldn't exist. And that's what basically makes the deck relevant, I suppose, at this point. But that is it. I just wanted to share with you what I've kind of been testing, what's worked well for me for this Go First build. Like I said, there will be a Go Second one coming up, which typically I've enjoyed a little bit more. It's not perfect. I mean, it's True Draco, right? It's Rogue at best. But a really, really fun deck to play. I absolutely love it. Just don't have to think. I mean, skill drains played in here. Tells you everything you need to know. Takes all the skill out of the game, which is kind of nice. The Go Second build's a little bit, I think, a little bit meatier. And people don't really expect it. I've had some really good results with this. Again, it's all online testing, so maybe slightly different if you go to a locals, especially a competitive one. But yeah, it's a really good, fun rogue deck to play. Fun for you, not so much for your opponent. So yeah, anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you like it, hit subscribe, maybe use the notification bell as well. There will be some more deck profiles coming, especially older ones that I've done before. If there's any that you want to see from previous deck builds that I used to do, then let me know, and I'll see if I can pick those cores up over time again. But that's all from me again. Thank you very much for coming along. I do appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.